Recently, we have seen rather weird photos from Moscow of the Russian President Putin, who was holding for the table rather strongly. Could you explain why he invaded Ukraine? Maybe he's sick, maybe he's crazy. Any other idea? Well, it's hard to assess every step of President of Russian Federation. It's hard for me to assess why he is holding for the table or the chair during all of those years, honestly. I don't think that it is connected with why he and his troops came to our land and crawling in a crawling manner as a cobra of occupation. They every day go, and even every year, because we know that the war is ongoing for 8 years. Unfortunately, we don't want to get used to this crawling occupation, but still, it is happening, and we see that. I think as for the impact, whether it impacts Ukraine a lot, I think that Russian Federation at this or that level always wanted to achieve it, and always, well, we may say and be rather sincere, we are fighting this impact. And I think we've already have overcome it. So sincerely, since the beginning of the independence of our state, we've dreamt, we were the only ones to dream of independence. We were the only ones to think about it. We understood that it's important for us only, and for the civilized world as well. Especially now we can see with the current support of the friendly countries. But we were not considered in Russian Federation and are still not considered, both at the level of the authority and because of the policy, information policy, at the level of the bigger part, the big percentage of the society. They don't consider us to be the independent state. They don't consider us, they don't respect our culture, our values, the language, and so on. They don't consider that we have the right, we are fighting for independence, that we are fighting for our freedom. Let the fight, that's the freedom of Ukraine. TV channel Inter, the fifth row, microphone please. Mr. President, you insisted on the meeting with Putin. Are you still insisting on the personal meeting with him, or do you consider that it can stop the war? How can it stop the war? And why Russia denies to meet? What are your assumptions? And what about the security component in the context of the information that there were some of the attempted murders? As far as I understand, it could be the third country. It should be the territory, the neutral territory, right? The meeting should have been done at the neutral territory. Do you acknowledge the risks and the threats of yours, for you? Thank you so much for this question, or for these questions. As for Russian Federation and the negotiations, I've insisted since the very beginning to have negotiations with the leader of the Russian Federation, because I consider that any formats of the meetings through the mediators with Russia, or just to giving this or that information to the leader of Russian Federation through the friendly countries, will not give the desired effect. I consider this war can be stopped by the one who began it. Do you hear us? This is the last train, the last one. Oh no, God forbid that it's the last one. Just for today, right? Let's listen to the underground.
Це одразу частково вам відповідь.
Instantly, this is the answer about the attempted murders. I am not that afraid of that. My guards are afraid of that. I am not the one who's afraid, and my family is afraid of the attempted murders, just to be really sincere. As for the topic of the meeting with the president of Russia, yes, I would like to stop, to finalize the war. There is the diplomatic way and there is the military way. So any healthy and sane person always chooses diplomatic way because millions of victims, losses of people. We don't want that. And any leader, whether he wants that or not, he doesn't have the right to deny subjectively, because it would be a subjective decision to deny the diplomatic way. And it's also important for our partners, I may say, because we are constantly speaking about that and made certain steps for the diplomatic solution of the military conflict and the war with Russian Federation. Our partners, both European and the partners from beyond the ocean, the United States, Canada, everybody sees that what Russia says and was saying during all these times, that Ukraine itself doesn't want to sit at the negotiation table and end the war. Everybody could see that it was the kind of a piling up effect. And now, if we manage to do that, the trust for our partners to us is the highest level. But there is no trust to Russia. Those are not synonyms, those are antonyms, Russia and trust, because they're just saying something and their words do not coincide with actions. And what about the security issues? Yes. Each economy, they already took part of the territory of Georgia. They almost achieved Tbilisi, it reached Tbilisi. Which economy? I think it's not worth it. That's my opinion. And but still, I'm sure, yes, sure. What exactly would you like to clarify?
Щодня ми дуже голосно про це говоримо. Так.
Every day we talk it very loudly in political arena, in the EU, in all groups. This is pronounced very loudly. My question is about the ambassador of Georgia, and what is your vision of our membership in the EU together? You have to see your prospects of the EU membership and I know that you people want it, but this is life, and I'm sure that you will be in the EU or in the NATO, wherever you want to go. This is your choice, and Ukraine will always respect your choice. I am saying it with confidence, but it seems to me your answers to these questions are inside of your own state. As to the returning of the ambassador,
ми обов'язково повернемо посла до дружньої.
We shall certainly return our ambassador to our friendly Georgia as soon as we hear the support which is provided to Ukraine on the part of your authorities. Thank you very much. CNN, please. The fifth row to the left.
Дякую, пане президент.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I am from CNN. Can you provide your assessment of the plans of Russia and their capabilities on their operation in East and on Donbass? Are the Russians able to take really breakthrough attack in order to ruin your defense line, or this operation will be long and exhausting? Do you believe that your allies and partners received your message and finally send the heavy weapons? Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to give you the example of Kyiv and Kyiv region, which was occupied, and the Russians have almost reached Kyiv, and there were battles near Kyiv, but we succeeded to de-occupy this territory. My position as a person, as a human, but first of all as a president, what they will be able to conquer or occupy, God forbid, we will return. And this will not be the issue of 10 or 20 years or the 8 years of the war since 14. But this is the issue of the weapon, whether we have the weapon. As if we have the weapons, we will immediately be returning the territory which is occupied. This is the sort of war which we have in Ukraine. This is the situation which we have in Kharkiv in the east. We unfortunately may retreat certain part of the territory due to the powerful some squads of Russia. But then in the morning we are returning them and advance. We are not advancing where we don't have support, which we keep talking about quite long. Not only we talk about it for a long time, but we talk about it publicly and much longer not publicly, if to be quite honest. But right now we see the change, real change in the attitude of our Western partners. Particularly I see the change in the speed of response on the part of the US. And if this speed is increasing as we are promised to, and if the steps coincide, if the words coincide with the words, as is the case with any good leader and people, we will be able to quickly deoccupy our territories. In the east of our state, at any point of time, happened maybe the thing which we are talking about. In Mariupol is besieged, very difficult siege. Today is one of the most difficult days. They keep shelling from the sea, from the ground, everywhere, from the tanks, from the artillery, from the aircraft. And the most recent signal I received, it was 1 hour ago. So I received it from the Azov regiment who are fighting there. And as soon as we are able to reach them, we will be there. But as yet, we offer as civilized people, we suggest humanitarian solution to the situation. We offer exchange of civilians. We offer exchange of the wounded. We are not offering the exchange of those who are killed, who are died. But they have left their killed people. They don't need their own killed people. And as to the exchange of our military servicemen who are defending Mariupol, we are ready to do that. And in one of the press conferences, I have already answered, as if Russia said, the ball is on your side. That is not the truth. We suggested, we offered any format for the exchange of our people who are currently in this predicament, in this terrible situation, in this bloody encirclement. And when the president of the Russian Federation was talking, and he said, there is a citadel there, but we will not be advancing. And 2 hours later, after that, the airstrikes happened. Now, the issue is the pragmatic dialogue, not the trust. Thank you. The third row, RBK, Ivan Bilichev, RBK, Ukraine. I have two questions. One of them is very focused as to the requirements of the aggressor country as of now, at this point of our, when we are having our discussion. What sort of requirements do they have? Do they want us to recognize the fake states at Donbass? Or maybe they have stopped presenting certain requirements right now, or maybe they have refused to present the requirements such as denazification. So the question, what is the pool of requirements? And the second question, regardless how the events will develop within the nearest days or weeks or even days, are Ukrainian people ready to live in such a high alert state? For example, like the state of Israel is living. When it is always ready, where it is militarized, where people are learning in school how to put together and disassemble the machine guns. Are Ukrainians ready to live in such a situation as long as this threat from the north and east exists? I shall start from the second part of your question. This is not a question whether we are ready or not. I believe that all Ukrainians, especially all those who still remain in Ukraine. I'm not talking about women and children who left, and some men who happen to be not real men who left. Most of Ukrainians who are united, more than 90% of our people are united. I'm very happy that we have the sort of state like that. Those people, we are not talking about being ready or not being ready. This is the only way out, the only solution which we have. We will be. Actually, I want to tell you that we have become the kind of state. We are the state where we know that we shall have to defend our land. And that does not necessarily mean that we shall be waging the war. I believe that, on the contrary, when we win, we shall be the state with the most powerful army and the most experienced army, and the most experienced army in terms of protecting the people and in terms of security guarantees. I believe that we shall become one of the strongest, powerful state in Europe, not because we are special, even though I believe it. This is subjective view, but because this is the only solution to our situation. These are the reality in which we live, and this is the reality of our neighborhood. And as to the requests or requirements or demands on the part of the Russian Federation, as far as we know from the mass media and thanks to other institutions, we have received the ultimatum, because this is not about agreement and about negotiations, because it is written in their ultimatum, Ukraine must. That is already not the dialogue. So it was initially the ultimatum. And then the rhetoric of this ultimatum was changing exactly because of the united people of Ukraine, United States of Ukraine, which has successfully demonstrated it from the very first days of the war. And within several first days of the war, this ultimatum tone and points of ultimatum started to disappear from the rhetorics. And then there were the negotiations between our subgroups, and I believe everybody knows this, that the communique was prepared